Hello and welcome to Real Estate Today. My name is Ed Cox and my co-host is Maria Babicki, and we have a great show planned and a lot to talk about. So Maria, could you introduce the topic and our special guest?
Sure. Our guest today is Bob Sparks of Architecturally Designed Interiors, and he has a new spin-off company called Sports Memorabilia Showcase. Thank you for coming to the show again. This is number 3.
It is.
Yeah.
It's number 3.
Yeah.
It's getting easier.
Yeah. So we're so pleased to have you here.
Thank you.
Can you quickly tell us a little about SMS?
SMS is something that we developed because we found that I had a client that was in Greenwich. We had done their home for them. 2 years later, they had put an addition on. It was a 2-story library that was to house nothing but his sports collection. So there was fireplaces upstairs and down. There was a complete elliptical balcony, spiral staircase, and he had every sports thing that you can imagine. And it was an absolute joy for me because I love sports, and there's some that I love more than others. But he actually had things that were out of the ordinary, like curling, okay? And that's when somebody approached me to do something again, like somebody had 400 baseballs, I had an opportunity to be able to do something that was kind of creative. And it goes hand in hand because ADI can give you the preparation for the existing condition or a new as-built condition if you want to put a room on or an addition or things like that. So it just makes sense that it worked very well for us. And the whole sports thing is like you're 14 years old all over again. So it's very cool to be able to do that. And you meet tremendous interesting people and athletes, and you know, so it's fun. It really is.
Well, that's exciting.
Thank you.
Congratulations on that.
Yeah.
Well, today our topic is what's current.
Yep.
And specifically, what we're going to do is talk about ideas that pertain to home sellers because they want to make their homes as marketable as possible, and also to home buyers because you might buy something and it's a little blah. So we're going to talk about what will make it more comfortable and give it some pop. So the first thing I'd like to talk about is colors. So what do you see as the trend?
I see a consistency in color from room to room, especially if there are no headers that separate rooms from rooms. So the color will bleed into it because there's no 90-degree inside corner to stop the color. And it gives you this panoramic view inside your home that you were never aware of. And a good example is we had our house for 10 years and we decided to make a change, and it was linen and Navajo, and we took all the Navajo away and we went with this wonderful mossy garden green color, and it really made all the millwork pop, and it just gives you this very warm, cozy feeling, and I think people are gravitating towards that. However, there are designers out there that have the ability to do something like, let's put an orange ceiling in this room. And it really just makes it happen. And so there's a right and a wrong, but it's a fine line, you know, to do things. But I think people are generally going with more of the white palette, whether it be all the things that you're going to touch on, you know.
What do you think, Ed, for colors now?
Well, it seems to be that the dominant thing, especially, and we're going to use some examples, in kitchens is the whites and the grays. White countertops seem to be really popular, and a lot of people who have wood cabinets to update, instead of new cabinetry, they're just painting their cabinets. I'm trying to do my kitchen, and I'm trying not to do white. But each time I see a new kitchen, it's white and it's beautiful, and it really looks nice, and you'll see a few examples of that today. I keep wanting to come back to white. At the end of the show, I'll probably want a white kitchen again. But
white seems to be the trend, don't you think, Maria? I mean, in all the houses that we've done together, the white allows the subtle details of the kitchen the lighting fixtures. Say you have one constant color of a detail. The lighting fixture happens to be black, the hardware happens to be black. The window casings, if there are crank out windows with no mutton bars or anything, has a tendency to be black. The countertops could be black. You know, so again, the white is making all of the details pop. And anything that you put in there to be an accent, whether it's artwork or canisters or whatever the case may be, and if you happen to have, say, a subway tile backsplash, or you have what we call a waterfall backsplash, where it's the same on the wall as it is the countertop, then you have a completely unbroken eye. And the white just seems to tie everything together. And the colors that you add to it will give you that subtle pop that makes it work very well. And then your stainless steel cabinets.
Right.
We don't see too many cabinets that are appliances that are being covered anymore.
Well, why don't we go right to some pictures? So we're going to show you a picture. The first picture we're going to see is a kitchen in Simsbury. And Ed, why don't you tell us a little about this particular home?
Well, this home is a home that's you know, in Simsbury, and it really was a project house. The folks who lived there and lived there for 5 years and did a massive renovation. They bought it. It was in a kind of a tough way, and they really did just an outstanding job of taking what was seen as probably a pretty small kitchen. It is certainly not large by any means now, but it definitely looks way more open than it did before. They put a total new kitchen, new cabinetry, new countertop. But, you know, again, for what they've done in this room, it wasn't incredibly expensive. And it just...
Were the floors original?
They were not.
They were not.
No.
So
he tied those in.
Again, the backsplash is subway tile, and it's like a galley kitchen.
Yeah.
So very few steps to have to move around in. But again, the white cabinets, which is interesting about this picture, is a frameless, which means it could be a box kitchen, which means that it's not something that you have to have custom made. And it seems to have a little bit of distress to it. There happens to be like a kind of a whitewash to it that kind of goes into the nooks and crannies of the infill moldings, but they did a great job with the Sub-Zero built-in. Most people will not do that. They'll do a slip-in, which kind of breaks the eye. This has absolutely no unbroken eye.
Yeah, he took the wall out that you wouldn't be able to see down that hallway into the foyer.
That makes great sense.
He also took out the space that went into the dining room off to the right. He opened this up very nicely.
Yeah,
it was really nice.
It's a great looking picture.
And for a galley kitchen, I think it's very spacious. And you have the recessed lighting, which that is a nice thing.
The only thing that they're missing is an island, but they don't need it because there's very few steps. Basically, you can do this and hit both countertops. You know? Right. So it's whoever did the design did a very nice job, and I love the floor. Love the floor. The floor pops off of the white. Again.
Well done.
Yep.
Okay, our next, the next kitchen we're going to look in is in Granby, and this is a condo in Granby, and this was completely redone. And this is the cabinets were oak. The upper cabinet doors were replaced, and this was all painted white. Tubular hardware was put on, Salinas white countertops, and the subway tile backsplash with stainless steel appliances, and it really came out beautifully.
What kind of flooring? I forgot what was in this one.
This was a vinyl floor covering. It was a relatively inexpensive covering, but very nice, you know, good quality, but just affordable.
I happen to have had the opportunity to see it before it was redone, and the end result was stellar because the cabinets were not replaced. They were just painted, the countertops were replaced, the floor was replaced. Were the appliances replaced?
Yeah. The appliances were, and the upper cabinet doors were replaced because originally they had kind of a dome.
They had a cathedral top to them. Yeah.
Yes.
This is much cleaner,
Yeah.
very, very updated. Subway tile, again, it works very, very well. And again, if I've always been a strong proponent that whatever the wall color is, the ceiling should be the same thing. But again, that is strictly a by preference choice by the client. So, but even the light fixture the scale is right for this. As I see everything, the scale and proportion worked out really well. So again, nicely done, Maria.
Okay.
The one thing about that one also is the kitchen is, the one thing I remember was that the kitchen windows were all boxed in with fluorescent tubes, light up where that pendant light was.
Yeah, I remember
and it looked like you were looking through a cave out into the window, and that's all opened up nicely now.
Yeah, there was a wood valance that
that was
yeah.
it looks way nicer, way more.
And the picture of the refrigerator that we have, that is a counter depth refrigerator. Originally, a regular refrigerator was purchased, and it was way too big, and it covered half the sink, so it had to be replaced. So you're looking at the
that's
counter
a
depth.
very good example about what we were talking about between the first picture, their fact of renovating and taking care of the fact that the refrigerator disappears completely into the room. This invades the room. This gives you that broken eye that you're trying to avoid desperately. But it's a matter of monetary means going from a slip-in to a built-in.
Right.
The price is 4 times as much.
In this case, if you were to do that, you'd have to pop it out to the garage because it wouldn't work here in this space.
Right.
Yeah.
So
The other thing too is the comment I would say about this kitchen also is that it is in a condo complex that, you know, it's quite affordable.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not a $500,000 house.
and again, the light fixtures are well in proportion, and I like the meld between the granite and the floor. And the floor is just simple, inexpensive, lay down tile, and what you can do to, you know, really give...
This is a vinyl sheet.
It's a vinyl sheet.
Yeah.
And what you can do for a moderate budget, you can go in and really make it very current. You know, so this was you know, I'd popped in on occasion to see what was going on, but it worked out really well.
Yeah.
Worked out really well.
Okay, now we're going to go to bathrooms. And right now with bathrooms, what we're seeing is large showers, glass enclosed. Probably you might have a soaking tub, but you need a regular tub in a house for children.
And for resale.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And then more, instead of oval sinks, rectangular sinks. What do you think? For
Yes, very much so. The oval top mount or over mount or under mount are gone, as is the 4-inch backsplash. That's kind of gone, as well as laminate countertops are gone, or Corian countertops are gone with the integrated sink in it. We're seeing a lot of undermount, and we're seeing an awful lot of vessel sinks. Now, not necessarily in a bathroom, but this bathroom has enough space to it, so if you wanted to put a sink that basically almost replicates a farm sink, and it's raised above the countertop, it really is a handsome look, and it gives you a little more depth of field, and it works really well. Vessel sinks you'll find in powder rooms, you know, things like that. And the plumbing sometimes will come directly out of the wall instead of out of the countertop, so it gives you more room for things that you need on a regular day-to-day, you know, get up in the morning and get your body going type of thing. Sometimes it's not easy to do that in a rental, you know. So, but again, for restoration, and I like the fact that, you know, you've introduced the baskets on the bottom, and you've carried the black into the mirrors, which works out really well. So, and I notice the hardware, and notice the fixtures. They're either going today with chrome, or they're going with brushed nickel. They're getting away from the brass. They're getting away from, you know, the stuff that we used to do 10 years ago. And this is now this is in the same condo, correct? That we've been looking at?
No, we're going back to the...
This was Ed's remodel.
Right.
Yes.
So again, whoever did their they're picking and choosing of things, did a fabulous job. Because even where you have your soap dispenser and your water glass and whatever the bottle is, it is kind of like a raised plinth, if you will, to the countertop. And it just kind of blends really, really well.
No, I think this is well done. I like the staggered tile. It's the regular tile size, but they staggered it, which I think makes it look more
And this is tile,
contemporary.
it's not.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So I think that really.
And
Then our second picture of it shows the glass enclosed shower very nicely. This was a beautiful bathroom. Or
Yes,
is a beautiful
It is.
bathroom.
And it's not a large bathroom.
no, it is not. It's a.
It's
this
not
is
a lot. You can tell
it's
by
a-
how the door swings in what the scale of the room actually is in width. The vanity seems to be a little bit in an oversize, but it may not be because it's not a custom build type of thing. It's something store bought. But was the tub existing or new?
New.
New. So they went back and had, now you can even notice the tub. In the old days they had the rounded edges and they had all of that kind of stuff. This is now more of a squared look. It's more, it has a soft feel to it, but it doesn't have any detail going around it. And this is what you find, and I really like how they did the tile around
Yeah,
it.
it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it has, you know, this is not really what we'd call a soldier course across, because the brick would be perpendicular, so we're going up and down, but it has a real nice feel, and I like the fact of the glass engaging the plumbing wall. And again, this detail here matches the mirrors on this side, and the hardware, again, is all chrome, and I love the color. The color it works really well. Even though you have this black accent, the color ties in very mauve-y with the tile and the new tub and everything. But the tub is white, so we're back to white. You know, so I think it's well done. I would love to know who the designer was, or if it was the client's own doing, then she has fabulous taste, or he does, whoever.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I think they both do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, our next picture is, this is back to the Granby condo, and what we're showing you here is a fireplace that's been painted. It had the original brick, and we thought we would jazz this up, and kind of with a more distressed look, even though it's white. And then we put a very large scale clock above the fireplace.
I walked into that room and I loved that clock.
Yeah.
I called you. I said, "Where'd you get that clock?"
Yeah. Home goods.
Home goods. You
Yeah.
know, it was a really nice accent piece, and you had the height because of the step down from the main level. It's a really comfortable remake of a very, 80s condo.
Yeah.
Or whenever they built them.
But I think one thing with this clock is people are afraid to go with oversized things.
Yeah.
And you should.
You should be bold.
Yeah.
You should not be afraid to take chances in whatever you buy, because what you buy you can bring back. What you can paint and you don't like, you can repaint.
Yeah.
It's like getting a bad haircut.
Yeah.
Your hair's going to grow back.
Yeah.
So that type of thing. And the floors were original to here, and they were refinished.
No, these were put in afterwards.
Really?
When the client bought this, it was carpeted, and then he put these in, and they were engineered hardwood.
So it was an engineered floor. There was no hardwood underneath it originally once you tore up the carpet.
No.
Okay. Well, again, it's got a great look to it, and the white accents with what we would call a Navajo type of color against a semi-gloss white or a linen white, something like that. It works very well. And with the hearth being redone, it kind of ties in the existing metal window sashes, which works out pretty well too. Again, you have zero unbroken eye in this.
So now we're going to quickly show you what this fireplace looked like before. So we took the screen off, and of course we painted it, and I think the clock added some height to it.
That is the typical, way that it was done before.
Right.
And again, they closed in. No, they did not. They painted the brick.
They painted
left
it.
the existing hearth. They probably painted the firebox, and then left the existing millwork, which was very minimalist, around it, and painted it white. And the clock is great.
Yeah.
I think the clock works really, really well. And the fact that you didn't, because you're going to show a picture of what the brick looks like.
We made it look more distressed.
It did. It's like a heavy, it's not a really, really opaque whitewash. It has some transparency to it, and you can see that some bricks are bleeding through more than others in its natural color. But I like the fact that you no longer see a grout line, which was in the old fireplace.
Yeah.
Which makes it very current, and everything just kind of melts together. So it was. And who was the one who decided to paint the fireplace?
It was my suggestion.
There you go, of course. Of course it is,
Yeah.
yes.
Shall we go outside now?
Yes, let's go outside.
Yeah, I'm not afraid to sit here and tell you that I don't have all the answers. There's many times late at night I call Maria and say, what do you think? I got this idea. And she goes, I don't think so. Or yes, it works. So.
So what are we doing outside?
Well, outside we have the walkways. We have we're seeing a lot of pavers. We see lampposts because that kind of gives you an architectural feature, and then the outdoor living and fire pits, things like that.
This is
a home in Granby.
right. Yeah, I'm familiar with this house, and I like how the railings, balusters are not heavy, they're metal. It gives you a lighter appeal, it gives you more current appeal, it allows you to go larger than they normally would for your lighting outside, because you can notice how large the lanterns are. If you are going with the table setting that is wrought iron, it immediately draws to the wrought iron of the stairs. And you have raised flower boxes. The stone pattern and the stone selection is very sweet. It works really, really well. You notice that the wing coming off has a transom above it. It has the, I believe that, were these sliding doors in the addition off the back, or were they opened out?
They opened out.
They didn't open out.
Yeah.
Okay. And the ones in the center, off of the main living area, they were operable, and then they were the two stationaries on either side.
Right.
So it worked out well. Again, you don't necessarily say that because it's this style, you have to have shutters, you have to have this, you have to have that. It's very well done, and it gives you access from different parts of the house to be able to entertain properly.
Right. What I like about this is you could have a huge party out here, and there's plenty of room for everyone. This is a very large patio. You know, it's minimally furnished at this for this picture, but I mean, a fire pit could easily go on it.
Easily.
Either a portable, or you could build onto it. It's really a nice place.
It is.
Play basketball on it, it's big.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could do that as well.
Yeah.
And the great thing is that the double door area here is accessible immediately to the living area, but the living area is immediately accessible to the kitchen, which is the double windows that you see here at counter height. So as far as entertaining, it works very well, and you have a fabulous view.
Right.
Looking at the mountain.
Okay.
Off of there. So, but a fire pit, if it was to be done properly, I think you can go with a freestanding, but a built-in one would really enhance it greatly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about accessories, because there's so much more you can do to a house to give it pop, like flooring, light fixtures, lamps, framed art galleries, pillows and mirrors. So this photo we're going to look at now, this is it's like a thimble of a house in Vernon.
About 750 square feet.
Yes.
Really?
And this is what we did to make this house have some pop. We put the pillows on the couch. It's a laminate floor, but the floor was just lovely. It really opened up the space
Engineered
instead of...
floors are really great. They are, and they're floating. You know, they're not that expensive to install. They're pre-finished. You have the world's your oyster when you want to go and pick out what you want as far as species and color and width of different things. So it's definitely the way to go these days, and it has a big impact on your budget.
Yeah.
These homeowners were absolutely flabbergasted when they saw what their house looked like while they were away. We did this while they were in Florida, and
So this was a true
Maria did this.
fixer-upper type of thing. Do you want to see what your house looked like before and after?
Yeah.
this was quite a change.
Yeah. No, and the house probably was built back in the 50s, I would say. The ceilings
Yes.
are low
Yeah.
in here because there's not a lot of header space above the windows, and it's probably a 7'3", a 7'6" ceiling. So again, and it's kind of been treated in a minimalist way, so the furnishings that are there are not battling the other pieces of furniture. You know, to the table, to this cabinet over here, to the Windsor chair, and this one accent piece over here. But just throwing some pillows down makes a huge difference.
How about our next photo?
Our next photo is back to the ranch in Simsbury, and this is after staging. This has various elements that we're talking about. This is the painted fireplace. This has the framed artwork that's all framed in black. This has a built-in that's nicely staged. The windows are, you know, open so you could see outside. And the pop of color with the orange pillows was really fantastic.
I like the fact that the window is a box window, and they did not put any window treatment on it,
Right.
because doing a box window is difficult. You either have to put them inside or you have to put it outside, then you lose the pop of the box,
Right.
type of thing. So they probably repainted the fireplace and perhaps changed out the hearth. You can tell what's original to the house here because they left the bookcases alone. They changed out the hardware, but they left the scallop fascia board on the top. You know, so that kind of gives you a kind of a date for between the ceiling and the cabinet. So
We got one minute.
Okay. And then our last picture.
I love this picture.
This is a model home on Shepherd's Way in Granby, the original.
This was a lot of fun. This house, I had the opportunity to do a lot of work in this house, and it's just a great house.
Right. So I think that even though this was traditional furnishings that were used in this picture, you could really have used anything in it.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. You can, yes, you can. Again, we were shooting for a certain look, but you're absolutely right. You can use any kind of furniture that you want in there, any kind of carpeting. But again, I know you did the decorating in this, and I liked. We struggled a bit on the top of what we were going to do with the mantle top, and we decided to go with absolute stone for the top, which matched the hearth.
Right.
But the clawfoot ceiling, even the light fixture, everything was done really well.
Well, our show looks like we ran out of time, basically.
Yeah, but we covered everything this time.
Yeah, we did. So thank you for joining us again.
It was fun.
Yeah,
it was fun.
Yeah.
And it's always fun coming here. And this, I think, was a great show because it focused on what you can do, which is great for the real estate market, and it's current. You know, which we never really touched much upon the last time. So, well done, Maria.
Good. Okay.
And Ed?
Well, thank you for coming, and thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Funding for Simsbury Community Television is provided in part by contributions from viewers like you. Thank you.